Good afternoon, Tuscaloosa, Internet World, West Alabama, right here in downtown Northport. How are we doing today? This is the Joe Gaither Show right here on BamaCentral and BamaCentral.com. You're watching us on YouTube, on Facebook, on Twitter. You're listening to us on Apple Podcasts, on Amazon, and on Spotify. Wherever you get your podcast, you can find the Joe Gaither Show right here on BamaCentral. And we're going to have a fun Thursday. We've already had a pretty decent little Thursday morning. I hope you guys have had a great day so far. And thank y'all so much for joining us. Thank you for subscribing, rating, reviewing the show, sharing it with a friend. You can find me on the social media machines at Joe Gaither6 on really every social media machine, whether it be Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, YouTube, anything. Still on TikTok a little bit, but not really posting that much on TikTok. I got to get back to posting on TikTok a little bit. You can find me at Joe Gaither6. But hopefully you're having a great week and you're looking forward to a great weekend. Hopefully you are enjoying the bye week just a little bit. The Alabama bye week, of course, that is kind of our focus. Always our focus on the program is Alabama Crimson Tide, and that will not change today. We'll talk a little bit about LSU, a little bit about Alabama basketball, a little bit about Georgia, Florida this weekend, a little bit about bye week, your bye week plans as we wind down the week and get into the weekend. It's fall break for the kids on campus. Everybody that is on campus making their plans to get back home, enjoying Nick Saban's birthday with fall break as per tradition. I hope you guys are having a great weekend. Make yourself some weekend plans. We'll talk about that here in just a little bit. But let's go back to yesterday's program just a little bit. We talked about LSU. We talked about LSU's schedule and who they played and really what's going on with with next week's game. Obviously, it's a huge revenge factor game. Alabama losing last year in overtime on the last play, a little going for two. Jaden Daniels going for two, and obviously they got it and beat Alabama and knocked Alabama out of playoff contention, and out of the SEC championship game. It was a big deal. It was a big deal to lose to LSU last year based on the circumstances and the stakes. Brian Kelly getting his first win over Nick Saban last year. But I'm starting to look at this year's schedule or this year's game. And, if you joined us yesterday on the program, you heard us talk a little bit about about LSU's schedule. And you can go back and listen to that real quick. But if you don't want to listen to that, we can recap it just a little bit. LSU, they're 6-2 on the season so far this year. And obviously, you guys probably all watched them on national TV like I did against Florida State, losing to Florida State in the first weekend. You probably got home to let's see, who was Alabama playing that weekend when LSU was playing Ole Miss? Alabama was playing a 2:30 game. I don't exactly remember who it was on that day. What day was that? September 30th. So that was the last day of the year. Or last day of the month, excuse me, for Alabama. Who were they playing on the 30th? Alabama. Anyway, so you got home for the tail end. Was that the A&M game? Yeah, it was, wasn't it? No, that was October 7th. So the week earlier. Oh, no. Okay, you're playing Mississippi State at 8 p.m. So you got to a little bit of the LSU and Ole Miss game before. That's what it was. Duh, that's what it was. That's why I remember that. ESPN didn't put on the Alabama-Mississippi State game until really the second quarter because they were wrapping up Ole Miss and LSU. So you probably all watched the Ole Miss-LSU finish. But, yeah, essentially you've watched LSU lose two of its biggest games of the year already, Florida State and Ole Miss. They've beaten teams like Arkansas. They've beaten teams like Army, like Grambling. They've beaten teams like Mississippi State and Missouri and Auburn. So it's not like they've been world beaters, getting all kinds of great wins so far this year. But obviously, it's going to be a huge game next weekend in Bryant-Denny Stadium. 6:45 on CBS. If you cannot make it in person, it'll be 6:45 on CBS. You'll be hearing the dulcet tones of Brad Nessler and Gary Danielson. Hate to honestly do not care for that crew at all, but it is what it is. But just interesting news. Interesting news out of the LSU camp. It sounds like LSU is going to be really down bad on the defensive side of the ball with losing all four of its transfer cornerbacks appear to be out for this weekend, for next weekend's game. Now, obviously, anything could change, but LSU went into the year with just one scholarship cornerback. Oh, goodness gracious. That was... Yeah. Sage Ryan. No, that wasn't Sage Ryan. It was LaTerrence Welch. Excuse me. That was LaTerrence Welch was the only scholarship cornerback on the team after graduation, after going to the NFL draft, after transfer portaling. So you bring in so Brian Kelly, his first off season has to go to the transfer portal. He goes and gets Denver Harris from Texas A&M. He goes and gets Deuce Chestnut from Syracuse. He goes and gets Ohio State's J.K. Johnson and Southeastern's Zay Alexander. And all four right now, if the game was played today in the next hour or change, all four are currently out of commission for the LSU Tigers, leaving LSU with making a lot of changes in the back end. Obviously, LaTerrence Welch will continue to be, will basically be cornerback number one. He's logged the most snaps for LSU so far. And he's going to be cornerback number one if the game was played tomorrow. They're going to move Sage Ryan from safety into cornerback. He's played cornerback a good bit this year. Seeing all our fans right here chiming in. Hey, Julene on Facebook. You can find us on Facebook. And my man James Ludeman as well on Facebook. You can comment on the program if you want to on Facebook at Joe Gaither 6 as we're live right now. But yeah, LSU is moving Sage Ryan from safety to corner, something they've already done this year. He's played 300 some snaps this year, playing at corner and at safety. He's LSU's highest graded pass defender. All right, so Ashton Stamps is going to be playing as well. True freshman LaTerrence Welch is going to be out there. True freshman Jeremiah Hughes has played 37 snaps, and true freshman Ryan Robinson Jr. is a preferred walk-on, has seen 16 snaps. So look, everybody's making a lot of big deal about LSU's offense. LSU's offense, yes, number one in dozens of categories, number one in the SEC. And yeah, I do think Jaden Daniels is the best quarterback in the SEC. Sorry, Carson Beck. Sorry to my man, Jalen Milroe. Sorry to Joe Milton, to Connor Wegman. I'm sorry to whoever, KJ Jefferson, Graham Mertz. No, I think it's Jaden Daniels. I think Jaden Daniels has shown himself throughout the course of the year to be really damn good. He and Mekhi Becton, Mekhi Wingo. Mekhi Wingo is the defensive lineman who's also hurt, who I was trying to get to as well. I've got so many daggum LSU names in my head. LSU wide receiver. Not Aaron Anderson. Who the heck is it? Aaron Anderson, little Aaron Anderson, disappointing. Malik Neighbors, duh. Oh, my gosh. I got so many LSU names in my brain so far, and it's been a weird week. I think I was a little bit sick on Monday. Maybe I'm still having a little fog from that. But, yeah, Jaden Daniels throwing to Malik Becton. Malik Neighbors has been probably the best combination in the SEC this year. And Alabama's going to have to be ready to defend it. I think Alabama will be ready to defend it. I think you're going to stick Kool-Aid McKinstry on him the entire game, and Kool-Aid has proven himself to be very good. In coverage this year. Now, Kool-Aid McKinstry was in the news a little bit yesterday with Nick Saban's comments about punt returning. He was affirming Kool-Aid McKinstry's ability to return punts, but Isaiah Bond in the media room basically said, you'll be seeing me soon. So LSU is going to be without a lot of players on defense, it seems like. A lot of depth on the back end. And what you don't know, I mean, all the focus has been on the offense. Number one everywhere. LSU is number 12 in scoring defense out of the 14 teams in the SEC. They've allowed 26.5 points per game. They're ranked 91st out of 133 in total defense in the nation, allowing 395 yards per game. And, you can say, okay, they played Florida State, who's a top 5 team. They played Missouri, who's had a pretty good offense, but they're also playing teams like Grambling, like Army, who haven't scored anything, like Auburn, whose offense has been absolutely terrible. Ole Miss's offense has been pretty good this year. Yeah, they gave up 55 points. They played Arkansas. They played Arkansas this year, and their offense really hasn't been that world beater. Mississippi State as well. So it's not like they've been playing all these great offenses. Yes, I give a lot of credit to Florida State. I think it's Jordan Travis playing quarterback for Florida State. I think that they've got a really good offense, and you saw that on display in the first week. And I think Ole Miss has a pretty good offense, and I think Missouri has a pretty good offense. But outside of those 3 games, I mean, you're 6. You played 8 games, and 5 of those games you played against just bunk offenses. Not good. I mean, Arkansas, you got KJ Jefferson, you got Rocket Sanders, but I don't think they're that good as an offensive team. Auburn, I think, is absolutely abhorrent as an offensive team. Grambling, Army, come on. You're not playing in the same really division as LSU. You're not really playing great offenses there either. And Mississippi State, you saw what Mississippi State did with Alabama. I don't really think Mississippi State is that great of an offense. Yet you got Will Rogers, and he's obviously an experienced quarterback. But really, I don't think that they have faced really a good offense. A whole lot of good offenses. We'll say that. A whole lot of good offenses. So you're going to see a lot of fun. It's going to be a lot of fun on Saturday, next Saturday, Alabama taking on LSU. And it'll be interesting to see what Alabama does offensively, because I think that Alabama has grown offensively every week. Now, you can basically sit there and make the argument that they're not a good offense either. I would argue with you, they're great in spurts. They're great in spurts, but they, on a consistent basis, no, they have not been a great offense throughout the whole year. But I do think that they have the capability of being a great offense. I think that when Alabama's passing game is on with Jermaine Burton and Amari Niblack and Isaiah Bond, I think that the passing offense is pretty daggum serviceable, pretty daggum good. I think when the running game is really churning, like the second half of the Auburn game was, or excuse me, the Arkansas game was, then I think the running game is pretty daggum good as well. The best thing about Alabama's offense right now is its ability to be balanced. And really what you need the rest of the year is to stay ahead of the chains for Alabama's offense, and that allows Alabama's versatility. The problem with Alabama's offense, the biggest problem with Alabama's offense, is first and second down inefficiencies. Taking sacks or not getting very good run production in first and second down, and that way you end up with 3rd and 7, 3rd and 8, 3rd and 11, something in that range, and everybody knows you're passing, and everybody knows your targets are Jermaine Burton and Amari Niblack, and then you put a lot of pressure on your Alabama offensive line that has gone up and gone down throughout the year. I think is on an uptick, but it's clearly not where you want it to be so far. I think it's going to be a lot of fun on Saturday under the lights in Bryant-Denny Stadium next Saturday. And LSU, just a little little news for you guys, keeping up with LSU's defensive capabilities. The four cornerbacks that they have relied on this year all appear to be out, and they appear to be going with backups at the cornerback position. Also, Mekhi Wingo appears to be out with a lower body injury, missed the Army game, but Brian Kelly would not comment or would not confirm whether he would miss the Alabama game as well. It just said they would miss some time. Without Mekhi Wingo, LSU is going to be turning to Jordan Jefferson, Jacoby and Guillory, and then, of course, their man Mason Smith, who has gotten better and better all year long. So it's going to be a lot of fun. I think, of course, like the Alabama, a lot of the focus is going to be on LSU's offense against the Alabama defense, but I think that's strength on strength. And not that they're going to wash each other out. I do think LSU is going to score some points on Alabama, but I don't think LSU is going to get up and down the field quite like they have against Missouri, quite like they did against Arkansas, or like they did with Ole Miss. I think Alabama's defense is going to be prepared for the challenge. It's going to be ready for the challenge. They're going to hear all week long about the number one offense in the SEC. They're going to hear all week long about Jaden Daniels and Malik Neighbors as well. I think they're going to be ready for an aerial attack and ready to play a really solid game. Now, caution you, when LSU opens up the game and goes right down the field and scores a touchdown, if that happens, if that were to happen, don't turn off your TV screens. Don't give up like a lot of you did watching the Tennessee game. I'm sorry. I know a lot of you gave up at halftime. Oh, my gosh, we're not going to come back, yada, 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 XYZ, ABC. No, give the defense a little bit of time to make adjustments. Give the defense some time to basically find its footing and really understand tendencies and make its moves, and I think Alabama's defense will acquit itself fairly well against the LSU offense. All right, let's keep going. I want to move to basketball real quick. I want to move to basketball, and I want to talk about a recruit. Derrion Reid is the next big recruit on Alabama's radar. And Derrion Reid is going to be making his commitment on Saturday at 8 p.m. So, yeah, it is going to be a football bye weekend, but we're still going to be covering a lot of news right here on BamaCentral.com. But I want to talk about Derrion Reid, 5-star power forward at a prolific prep in Napa, California. If you've already heard of prolific prep, that's probably because you're keeping up with Alabama recruiting. Aiden Sherrill, who's also power forward, 6'10" power forward, consensus 4-star recruit, composite 5-star recruit, 4th best player in the state of California. Aiden Sherrill has already committed to the Alabama Crimson Tide. He's the only commit in the 2024 class. Nate Oats has been in on a lot of high-level recruits, and okay, let's be honest, he's missed on a lot of high-level recruits. But when you're playing, the big game, when you're playing with the big boys, you're playing with the Cooper Flans, you're playing with who's the kid, the Boogie Fland as well, Cooper Flagg and Boogie Fland. When you're playing with Asa Newell, when you're playing with guys who are highly coveted and can go to any school, Trey Jones as well, going to Texas, like you're going to miss out on some players because there's only so many good players in the country, and there's a lot more colleges wanting those good players than players wanting good colleges. All right, so you already got Aiden Sherrill. You already got Aiden Sherrill at a prolific prep. He's he's a 4-star, 5-star prospect, and he committed late September. Derrion Reid is his teammate. And he's widely considered the best player in California or second best player in California. So a little bit better than Aiden Sherrill. And Alabama has been in on Derrion Reid for quite some time now. And Alabama is in Derrion Reid's final three. Alabama, Florida State, and Georgia appear to be his last final three. And I think that you're really competing with the University of Georgia, who just got Asa Newell. Look, Nate Oats has been recruiting his tail off since he's gotten here. I know a lot of people didn't love the production that came with J.D. Davison, but he's been recruiting his tail off literally since he got here. Bringing J.D. Davison, bringing Brandon Miller. He got a lot out of Noah Clowney. You're going to love what you see out of Ryland Griffin this year. Nate Oats went to the transfer portal and really, really racked in with Grant Nelson and Aaron Estrada as well. I think that Nate Oats' recruiting ability is well documented, but on Saturday, Derrion Reid's going to make his college decision. Alabama's been in the driver's seat for Derrion Reid for quite some time now, but it seems like NIL has become, like it is in a lot of high-level recruitments, NIL has become quite a factor in Derrion Reid's recruitment. Do I want to go to Georgia for a year? Do I want to go to Florida State for a year? Do I want to go to Alabama for a year? Well, where am I going to, one, show off my skill sets the best, and two, make a little money on the side? Obviously, if you're comparing the three programs, I know Florida State has a pretty good basketball tradition. Coach, what is the young man's name? Leonard Hamilton. Thank you. Leonard Hamilton has been a great basketball coach for a long time. He's made several runs at Florida State. Look, Elite Eight, Sweet 16, 2 Sweet 16s, and 1 Elite Eight. I believe he's won the ACC, 2 times? He named ACC Coach of the Year 3 different times, 2009, 2012, and 2020. But yeah, Florida State is a pretty comparable, like, all right, you want to go to Florida State and you want to play for Leonard Hamilton, fine. He's done pretty well for himself. You want to go to Georgia and play for, I believe it's Mike White. I don't know about that. I don't know that that's going to be the quickest path for NBA action. But if Georgia's ponying up a lot of money, well, Derrion Reid, you're going to have to you'd be foolish not to consider it. You'd be foolish. And Athens is a nice place. It's a good little college town. Obviously, they just got Asa Newell, so they're building something basketball-wise. It seems like they are investing in the basketball program there. Derrion Reid, you want to go be a one and done. You want to show off your skill sets and show how you will translate to the NBA. Alabama is that place for you, big man. My big concern is this, really, with the NIL battles in college basketball, especially as it pertains to Alabama. How much? Now, we had the Alabama executive director, Jay McPhillips, on several months ago, and he kind of danced around the question of where all the money is going as far as which sport gets which money. He kind of said it was all in one big pot, and each coach can come kind of request what they need so they can fill those needs. And that seems like a good little strategy. But my biggest concern is all the NIL dollars, from Yale, Alabama going to the football pot? And granted, football is king. Football is super important, and we love football here on the Joe Gaither Show. We love football here in Tuscaloosa and right here at BamaCentral. We do. But what's the percentage of NIL dollars going to football versus going to basketball? And this is where I'm a little concerned when I'm seeing losing out on Asa Newell, who, okay, granted, had a walk-on brother at Georgia anyways. Missing out on Boogie Fland, who committed to Kentucky, who apparently Kentucky rolled out the red carpet and backed up the Brinks truck. Who missed out on Trey Jones, who committed to Texas. Like, you're missing out on some of these prospects, and sure, some of it is just the part of the way the game goes. When there's only 15, 20 5-star prospects, well, you think there's 15, 20 high-level college basketball programs. You've already got Aiden Sherrill. It's going to be hard to double down and get a second one. Now, it will be a whole lot easier if the NIL dollars are, flowing in to support Nate Oats. I don't know. I don't want to make any broad statement about where the money is going because I truly do not know. And I think that Yale, Alabama has grown since even the time that we have talked to Jay McPhillips, 2 months ago. You saw the Roll Tide Jerky. You saw their partnership with Learfield. You saw them open up the Advantage Center. You've seen them do a lot of things. They have opened up more tiers of membership, that even cheaper tiers of membership. You've seen them with more product, more merchandise, more memorabilia that you can buy. So they're still growing. They're still developing their brand, developing their business. My biggest concern is what's the percentage? And I'd love to get more information from Jay McPhillips if that can be divulged in the future. But Derrion Reid, you've been in on him for quite some time. He came to Tuscaloosa last week on an official visit. And boy, was there a better weekend. Was there any better weekend to come to Tuscaloosa than last weekend for an official basketball visit? Now, granted, obviously no basketball events yet last week, but the football, the pageantry, the pride in the university was on full display last weekend. The tradition that is Alabama as an athletic brand was on full display last weekend. And I can't imagine how much of an impression it leaves on a young man being in Bryant-Denny Stadium, seeing, the players on the field, the comeback, everything that happened on the field, X's and O's and ABC, winning 34-20, beating your bitter rival, and then just the way that the fan base enjoyed the victory, with the cigar tradition obviously being at the forefront. But really, just I think there's no better celebration of Alabama Honestly, I know LSU is coming in 2 weeks, and I know Auburn is coming in 5 weeks, 4 weeks, 5 weeks, Thanksgiving weekend. I know those two rivalries are coming soon, but I don't know. And maybe it is my personal bias growing up in Chattanooga and seeing, all the Tennessee fans growing up telling me how great they were in the 90s and this, that, and the other. I don't think there's any better moment of pride or moment of, yeah, we're Alabama, we're better than you, this is Alabama, and we're a big brand, come to Alabama, than beating Tennessee. You beat Tennessee, the vibes are, as my friend Will Miller would say, immaculate. The vibes are off the chart. Everything. Sunday, I woke up on Sunday, the sun shined brighter. Everybody said hello to one another in church. The preacher preached a great message. I got home. There were no traffic accidents on Sunday. Everybody waving at each other, saying, "Roll Tide." And I know there's Auburn fans who live in Tuscaloosa as well. And not everybody in Tuscaloosa is an Alabama fan. I get that. I grasp that. But goodness gracious, there's just no better feeling that comes after a victory. Coach Saban, you heard him, enjoy the bleep out of this in the locker room. If you didn't see it, it's on several social medias, him cursing positively at his team after the game. Y'all go, I'm so damn proud of you. Y'all go enjoy the bleep out of this. I said, oh yeah, Coach, Alabama's will. So Derrion Reid, you experienced it. You experienced it last weekend, and you can be a part of it you can be a part of it for 1 year, for 3 years, for 4 years, whatever you want to do. Obviously, you are a high-level basketball prospect. I think, right now, the powers that be, the tea leaves as they're smoking on a Thursday afternoon, say that Derrion Reid is going to commit to the University of Alabama on Saturday. And goodness gracious, that would load up your recruiting class. Two top 5 prospects out of the state of California, 2 composite 5-star prospects, and 2 teammates that already come to Tuscaloosa with built-in chemistry out of prolific prep in California. I will be ecstatic on Saturday night if Derrion Reid and makes that announcement for the University of Alabama. But, with NIL and the way the college recruitment goes nowadays, I don't think that would be any surprise if he puts on the Georgia hat or puts on the Florida State hat. I think it's really down to Georgia and Florida State. Derrion Reid, we'll see what kind of decision he makes on Saturday at 8 p.m. 8 p.m. I think it might be 7 p.m. Central Time, 8 p.m. Eastern. So we'll be looking forward to that, as that's the next domino to drop in the basketball recruiting world. You missed out on Boogie Fland. You missed out on Trey Jones. You missed out on Asa Newell. And then that's okay. I don't want everybody running to the newspaper, running to the Twitter saying Nate Oats has lost it. No. Nate Oats, I feel confident. He's shown you over the course of 4-5 years. Every year, he's going to hit the transfer portal. He's going to hit the recruiting trail, and he's going to build a pretty dadgum good roster. And that's where I want to go next. Nate Oats with the BamaAlytics. If you haven't seen it, you can need to check out at Alabama MBB on X, on Twitter, Alabama Men's Basketball. BamaAlytics is featured in the second episode of the Alabama basketball kind of behind-the-scenes project. Nate Oats describes his math background in teaching geometry, teaching algebra, teaching statistics in high school at Romulus High School, math teacher at Romulus High School, and basically was like, we always wanted to take high percentage shots at Romulus, but I never really had the information, the backup, the information gathering system, the support system at Romulus High School. When he got to Buffalo, he was able to get some of the statistics really, really on paper and charted. But then when he came to Alabama, Adam Bowman, his assistant, has really, really helped him develop his analytical style, and they chart everything. It's a great look. It's a great look at the Alabama basketball program as they chart everything that they do in practice, from blue-collar points to where the shots are. Are the shots contested? Are you shooting? Are you driving right? Are you driving left? Where are your turnovers coming from? Everything in the basketball game or in practice is charted, and that allows Nate Oats to really coach his guys in the smartest ways possible. And look, I know a lot of people are, oh man, where's the 12-footers? Where's the 11-foot jumpers? Where we got to get the mid-range going? Coach Oats addressed that in the video about, it's not about not taking mid-range jumpers. It's about taking smart mid-range jumpers. It's about taking the best shots. And if you follow Nate Oats, you know the points per shot. The points per shot math basically says dunks and layups number one, because you get what, 1.7, 1.8 points per shot. You get the free throw number two, free throw what, 0.7, 0.8 points per shot based on your free throw percentage. And then your three-pointer is your number three option. Your three-pointer is like 1.6, 1.7 as well, even on a 30% clip. You take that 15-footer, you take that 12-footer, the mid-range jumper, and you're dropping your percentage to 1.1, 0.9, 1.2, 0.8 points per shot, and thus you realize that it's not going to be, mathematically efficient to continue to take these mid-range shots. And you've seen that over the course of Nate Oats' 4-year period, winning 4 different SEC championships, getting to 2 Sweet 16s, and really putting Alabama basketball on the map on the national landscape, and making it a highly respectable program once again. So I encourage you to go look at that clip and check out the BamaAlytics video that Alabama MBB put out. As I just loved Coach Nate Oats. I'm going to be working on something for Nate Oats, for you guys, the listener, referencing his math background and referencing, what he does for the Alabama basketball program. Hopefully, we're going to put it out there tomorrow. Hopefully, we'll put it out there tomorrow. We're going to work on that through the night. All right, so let's keep it rolling. Bye week plans. I got bye week plans on the sheet. I got Georgia, Florida. I got Texans, Panthers. And I still got Michigan on the brain. I got Michigan on the brain because the NCAA has officially arrived in Ann Arbor, and they are investigating the Wolverines. Yeah. Coach Saban, 2 days in a row, yesterday on the SEC teleconference and today on Pat McAfee's show. You can read about that at BamaCentral.com, advocating for helmet communicators. You see them in the NFL. The green dot helmet has the radio in it. The coach can basically, we're calling X right for Z100. This play, they're calling the plays on the radio. It goes right into the helmet. The guys can call it out there and communicate it on the field. I think that you're going to see that very, very soon, at least in high-level college football. But Michigan, you guys are in trouble. I don't want to dredge this up again because I've talked about it for the last 2 days. We'll talk about it as more developments happen on the program, or as more developments happen throughout college football. It's going to be very interesting. Michigan is off this weekend. The staffer, Connor Stallions, is suspended with pay. We will see. It seems like the NCAA has confiscated his computer and has confiscated or is searching or is investigating many other electronic devices up there in Ann Arbor, as they are in trouble. All right, so bye week plans, Texans, Panthers, and Georgia, Florida are the last little bits of my topic sheet for the day. Let's talk about Georgia, Florida. Yesterday I did mention it, kind of led off the show with Alabama fans need to be supporting the University of Georgia. And obviously you can pull for whoever you want to pull for. But Georgia, Florida, this coming weekend is going to be a really nice look at the University of Georgia without Brock Bowers. Without Brock Bowers and how they do. Look, I don't think that Florida is that strong of a football team outside of Gainesville. Obviously, they beat Tennessee in Gainesville. They ended up beating South Carolina. They ended up beating South Carolina in South Carolina. Let's see. Any other good wins have they had outside of Gainesville? No. They went to Kentucky and lost. They went to Utah and lost. And you beat Vanderbilt at home. So great. Your home wins are Tennessee at home, Vanderbilt, and McNeese. You went on the road and lost to Kentucky and Utah, and you were able to beat South Carolina, who I don't have that much respect for either. So Florida, this is a chance. This is your next real chance to get a good road victory. I know Jacksonville is not that far away from Gainesville, and it's not really technically a road environment, as it is a neutral site. The stadium will be split 50-50. Georgia's favored by 14.5 points this weekend. And I don't know. I think that Georgia, it might have a point to prove. Playing without Brock Bowers, as he is recovering from ankle surgery. And I think it's going to be really fun to watch. That's going to be part of my bye week plans. I'm going to be watching Georgia. I'm going to be supporting Georgia. My parents obviously both graduated from Georgia. I'll be supporting them as well. Never really root for Florida in my life. Don't really plan to start on that. Start rooting for Florida in my life this weekend. I think Georgia has a big time chance to prove a point, as they really have they really have the SEC spotlight right now. This weekend, this weekend's SEC spotlight really is on Florida and Georgia. There's not really any other big time SEC games. I mean, come on, are you going to be watching Tennessee, Kentucky at 6 p.m.? Are you going to be watching Vanderbilt at Ole Miss at 6:30? South Carolina A&M at 11? No. You're not going to be flipping over and watching Mississippi State and Auburn at 2:30 unless you are a sadistic person. If you hate offense, watch Mississippi State at Auburn at 2:30. So really, Georgia and Florida, I mean, obviously it's the CBS main game at 2:30, but you've got the eyes of the conference all on you. I think the rest of the conference slate is pretty easy to determine and pretty easy to figure out. When we talk about it on Football Friday tomorrow with our friends, I'm going to be picking A&M. I'm going to be picking Auburn. I'm going to be picking, actually, I don't know about Tennessee and Kentucky. I think I'm going to be taking Tennessee, and then I'm going to be taking Ole Miss as well. But really, the eyes of the conference are going to be on Georgia, Florida, and we're going to have a lot of fun watching it from a neutral perspective and seeing what Georgia does without Mr. Brock Bowers. We'll see if Orlando Delph, I think is the backup tight end's name, and everybody's been touting and spouting about over the last 2 weeks. We will see what he is able to do for the Georgia Bulldogs. All right, so bye week plans are as follows. I hope you guys have something planned this weekend with no Alabama game. Look, watch the Georgia-Florida game at 2:30 if you want to. But if not, go do something with the family. Pumpkin patch it up. Haunted house it up. Go do, get the kids out there, an early Halloween early Halloween. Go get the candy 6 p.m. before the sun goes down. Get them out there and enjoy the family this weekend. But if you're looking for things to do, obviously, Georgia and Florida will be on your television at 2:30. At noon, right here at the Joe Sewell Thomas Stadium, it will be a free fall ball event, the last fall ball event for Alabama baseball. Alabama baseball is taking on Florida State at noon. 2 7-inning doubleheaders. You'll be able to see. You'll be able to read about it on BamaCentral.com. I'll be following along and manning a live blog for BamaCentral.com. But if you're around town and you're just looking for something to do, it's going to be free. I really enjoyed the doubleheader that I saw 2 Fridays ago when Alabama took care of business against Auburn. I really enjoyed Rob Vaughn's squad. Now, obviously, there's a long way to go until the spring. But it was a great chance to see a lot of arms 2 Fridays ago, and a lot of bats got up there. A lot of bats hammered a lot of home runs this 2 weekends ago. So hopefully it's going to be the same sort of scenario on Saturday. A lot of strong arms out of Alabama, and a lot of runs scored as well. So come out there on Saturday at noon. Noon on Saturday, it's going to be 2 7-inning doubleheaders, so it's probably going to be about an hour and a half for each game. So it puts you about 3 hours, puts you about 12 to 1 to 2 to 3, puts you about 3 o'clock. You'll be done. You can get out there and still do your pumpkin patch activities, still do your haunted house activities. Go take care of the kids, doing a little trick or treating, or if you've got some items on your honey-do list, you can take care of that after Alabama's baseball scrimmage. Or sit around. Well, you'll be getting home right in time for the second quarter to get rolling for Georgia, Florida, the world's largest outdoor party. They don't want you to say cocktail anymore. All right, another thing that's going on this weekend, Houston Texans and the Carolina Panthers, and you'll be able to read about this pretty soon on BamaCentral.com. The Texans are taking on the Panthers, and yeah, why do we have any interest in a 3-3 squad against an 0-6 squad on Sunday at noon? Well, because our guys, Bryce Young and Will Anderson, are going to be squaring off for the first time in the NFL. And the question is, how many sacks will Will Anderson have on Bryce Young? Bryce Young has been sacked a bunch of times throughout the NFL season. NFL sacks by team. Most sacks allowed. NFL sacks allowed. Let's find that out because I think Bryce Young is right there near the top of that. Most sacks allowed by team. You've got your well, that's 2022. We want 2023. How about that? How about sacks allowed? Yeah, sacks allowed. 40 for the Commanders, 37 for the Giants. My Chicago Bears at 27. Panthers have allowed 19 sacks per game. And that comes in at what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11th in the NFL, which is better than I expected. And I think a lot of that's probably due to Bryce Young getting rid of the football pretty dadgum quickly, as he is known to do. It's going to be a lot of fun to see Bryce and Will go at it, and you're going to see a lot of other Alabama athletes on the Houston Texans team. You'll see Christian Harris, you'll see Henry To'oTo'o, you'll see John Mechie, you'll see your boy D'Amico Ryans on the sideline coaching the Texans as well, and we'll see will Bryce Young get his first NFL win. I say no just from the analytical standpoint because the Texans are freaking terrible. They're an awful football team, and Bryce Young is kind of immune to that. I don't think Bryce Young has really gotten a fair shot this year, but he's going to have a chance to get his first win. The Texans aren't a great team either. You look at the line. The line has it as Houston favored by 3 on the road, which means if it's a neutral site game, let's see. If it's a neutral site game, which it's not, and then the Houston Texans would be favored by 6 on a neutral field because home team gets 3 points. So you're seeing ESPN Analytics giving the Panthers 37% chance to win the game, and it'll be a lot of fun to watch Bryce Young go against his man Will Anderson, the number 1 versus the number 3 overall draft pick this weekend on Sunday at 12 o'clock. And you'll be able to read about it right there on BamaCentral and BamaCentral.com. So what do we do for the rest of the day? The rest of the day, we will be working on a little project that I hope to put out tomorrow. And then we will be following Hey Coach 6:30 to 8 p.m. on BamaCentral.com. You can follow our live blog to listen to read along with everything that Nick Saban has to say. You'll be able to find out who the other guests will be for this evening's edition of Hey Coach. Again, it starts at 6:30 Central Time. Nick Saban will show up at 7. Coach Saban telling Pat McAfee today he's going to the lake. He's going to be doing Hey Coach tonight remotely. He's going to the lake, and he's having a birthday party on Saturday night. So make sure you send your well wishes to Coach Saban in the mail to the Malmore Athletic Facility as we wrap up a bye week. So tomorrow on the show, we will try to do another Football Friday as we usually do it, with our friends Katie Wyndham. Austin Hannon might join us, might not. He's been a busy man this week. We'll find who else is available on BamaCentral and BamaCentral.com's team as we wrap up another week and really get rolling for LSU week. It's going to be a lot of fun. You guys can follow us. We want to encourage you to follow and download the other Bama Central Broadcasting Network podcast, Blue Collar Unplugged, with our friends Jacob Pickle, Matthew Gibson, and Blake Byler. Those guys covering all things Alabama basketball related. Follow those guys at Blue Collar Unplugged. They put out a new episode this past week. You can find us on the Twitter machine, on the Facebook, on the social media machines, all the social medias at Joe Gaither 6. You will send us your comments, your questions, queries, and complaints. It's been a little bit of a weird week, so I apologize. Anybody I haven't gotten back to this week, I will get back to you. I absolutely will get back to you in the DMs or on the comments section. Just been a little bit of a weird week, having been a little feeling under the weather on Monday, so that's kind of put me behind in a little bit of a fog. So we're going to have a lot of fun the rest of the week. I hope you come back and join us on the Joe Gaither Show, watching us on YouTube, on Facebook, on Twitter, listening to us on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts, and on Amazon, and on Amazon. Tell a friend about the program. Like, rate, review the program, subscribe, send the program to a friend or to an enemy. Let the dog listen to it on your way out the door. We'll be